Hi everybody, I'm Peter from Independent Auto Advisors, and today I'm going to share some of my 50 years experience to help you find your next car or truck. I'll be telling you things to look for and things to look out for. Now, a lot of us are looking for something like a BMW, a Lexus, or even like an F-150 crew cab. But the reality is, a lot of us are also looking at that $10,000, maybe as low as $5,000 car that's just inexpensive transportation to get us to and from work or school. Now, a lot of you have already found out an inexpensive but good used car is pretty hard to find. But I'm going to give you some pointers of what to look for. And this is a good example here. It's a 2005 Toyota Camry, and their reputation is legendary. But before we get into the detail, we'll just do a quick walk around to see if anything jumps out at us while we're looking. Okay, so I'm looking down the side here. There's some little scuffs on the door here, a little bit of chipping. Now, here I can see that the rear fender is slightly different colour, which tells me something. I'm not sure yet, but we'll come back to that and look at it. And again. Nothing jumps out at us. Okay, so now we're going to take it for a little test drive. Okay, so now what we're going to test is the drive shafts. And the drive shafts are the thing that connects the transmission to the front wheels. So we're going to drive off here and drive around in a tight circle. There we are. Go one way, hard over, and if the drive shafts are defective, you're going to hear a very loud click, 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 click. We did it one way. Now we're going to do it the other way, and that's good. No sounds coming from there. Okay, so now the big thing we're going to check now is the transmission, which is very important, especially with an older car. What we don't want it to do is to drag as it shifts into gear. So, first of all, let's put it in reverse. There we are. And we can tell by the engine note that that instantly went into gear. And I can back up here, and it goes there with no sliding. So, we're going to now put it in D. And again, it instantly went into gear, which means there's no dragging. So now we take it for a road test, preferably if you can find a nice hill to go up and down. That will give you an idea whether it's dragging. But this is so crisp and that I don't have a problem with it. Okay, so now we're going to take this car on a nice windy road, which will give us some indication of how good the steering is. There we are. So as we go around here, if the steering feels woolly or it doesn't want to go where it's pointed and is like all over the place, then there's a problem. But this, as you can see from the steering wheel, even though the road is windy, it's actually keeping its line quite nicely. I'm not having to adjust the steering or anything, nothing like this, for instance. There we are. Now at some point here, we can test the brakes. And to do that, you just basically get in the crown of the road if you can. And then press the brakes, hands off the wheel, and you can see that it didn't pull from one side or the other. So that's good. And while you're checking this out, just leave the engine idling for a while, and I'll explain why later. But for now, just while you're checking it out and looking at everything, just leave the engine running. Now, again, while it's running, if you go back here and feel this pipe here, that's the air conditioning pipe, and that's icy cold, which means that the air conditioning is working really well. Okay, over here, there's the oil filler cap. Very, very important, in fact vital. Unscrew that, look under there. Now, as you can see, there's no gunk or foam or anything like that. If there were, that would suggest that there's a problem. So
So let's put that back there, and also let's now check the actual dipstick and see the colour of the oil, which as you can see is nice and clear and clean. So I'll put that back. Other places to check are, like that's the power steering fluid and we can see its normal range. This here is your radiator overflow. Now again, let's look at the water there, and as you can see it's clear as a bell, which means that the water is not contaminated by oil or anything like that. This is the whole thing with these engines. They have oil, water, transmission fluid, and they're all separate. Once they start getting together, the oil starts mixing with the water and vice versa, then you really have a problem. Alright, so now let's check the water, the radiator filler cap here, and we can see it's full up, not contaminated, there's no oil or anything like that in it, so that tells me that that's in good shape. Now, while you're here, have a look down here. This here is the frame, and it runs back this way, backwards and forwards, and if the car's ever had a significant front end damage, you could expect to see some welding or straightening or anything like that on that frame. There's none here, thank goodness. So again, looking over here behind the battery, there's the other bit of the frame right there, and again it's normal, it's not been welded or played with. Now, there's one final check you can do here. Most people don't know this, but every panel on this car has got a sticker, and the sticker corresponds to the car's VIN number. And here's the sticker here. There we are. And that will tell you that this is an original panel. These stickers can't be replaced or removed or duplicated. So if you've got a panel that doesn't have that sticker, then it's not the original panel. Now you'll recall when we first looked at this car, we noticed that the rear bumper was a slightly different colour than the rear fenders. So we're going to look back there. Now we know that the trunk lid is original and the rear fenders are original because we saw the VIN stickers. However, just to be on the safe side, we're going to have a closer look. So first thing is, let's pull out this here, and this will give us access to the inside. Okay, there we are. Now, if we look down here, this is where we're looking for. This is the rear frame, and we want to make sure there's no damage or weld marks or stretch marks, anything there. Same on this side here. This is again the extension of the frame. We want to make sure it's intact, never been tampered with, never been played with. You remember I said let's leave the car idling for 5 or 10 minutes, and it's been doing that, it's been sat here. So what I'm now going to show you, I'm going to back the car up and show you what I'm looking for. Okay, so I backed the car up a little bit, and what I'm looking for now is I'm looking at the ground underneath the car to see if we can see any oil spots, water spots, transmission fluid, engine oil, anything at all that's leaking out of the car. And I don't see any. That's good. So, if after you've had the car a month or so, the alternator goes, or the water pump, or even the transmission, you can fix it and you can put it back together and it's as good as new. However, there's one thing you can't fix, and that is rust. Okay, now, don't get me wrong. You can fix a hole with Bondo, you can paint it with a spray can, and you can make it look better, but you're not fixing it. The problem with rust is it's in the car, and if it's where you can see it, there's going to be a lot more where you can't see it. And the first thing you know is the car fails inspection. Well folks, thanks for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it helps you next time you come to buy a car. And if you did like it, press that subscribe button down there and ring the bell. And thanks for watching.